Aren't those little girls so cute? Welcome everybody to our 272nd, wow, Sunday gathering. I'm Sandra, if we have not yet met. I am joined with my dear friends, Kerry and Phil. And if you haven't yet guessed, yes, those are us on the pictures. Kerry on top, Phil in the middle, as it should be, a Phil sandwich, and Sandra at the bottom. Each and every week, we do everything we can do to put a smile on your face, let you know the reality that our loved ones who have passed away from this world are still with us. We want to empower you, enrich your lives, and have some fun in the process. Yes, yes, that's what we do. Kerry has picked our theme today and the music, the order of service. So what I'm going to do is pass it over to her to explain, and then we'll get this show on the road. But welcome, everyone. We're so glad you're here.
Thank you very much, Sandra. And today it's all about children. You know, those moments in a child's life when the world feels like it's ending because they've lost a toy, and then the world feels like it's beginning because they get an ice cream. Oh, to be a child again. Well, today is all about children. We know that children are our future. That might be a song at some point. But children are something we should be investing in. So I thought today would be a lovely theme, as it is Children's Week around the world, the tail end of that week. So today I'm going to be opening in prayer. Then Sandra is going to do the reading and the healing. We're all going to share the address. And then Phil is going to start the mediumship.
Am I? I thought it was the other way around today.
And then I will be following, and we'll finish up with some words of the week by Sandra, and Phil will close in prayer. So if you'd like to join me to whoever your God is in prayer. Divine and infinite Spirit, as we enter into this sacred time, within this sacred space of all of our hearts and souls coming together, allow us to celebrate that child within us, that child within the other, and the children who are beginning to take their first steps in life. Allow us to remember that we exude where they can get to. We should be walking the walk and allowing them to learn how to be a decent human being with ethics, with morals, with values, and always seeking their own truth. Allow us to be present with the children both in spirit and in our physical world. Amen.
Thank you so much, Kerry. And now for your reading. Today, with our theme being children. In the reading, I wanted to include some profound wisdom that we can borrow from kids, no matter what age we are. It's a wisdom that lives in all of us, a perspective that we can return to at any time. It's a wisdom found in three beautiful ideas: the resilience to get back up when we fall, what we call the beginner's mind that sees wonder everywhere, and the joyful understanding that life comes full circle. Here's a story about a man named Benjamin. Benjamin was an old clockmaker, renowned for his precision. His clocks were perfect. But lately his heart just wasn't in them. His workshop, once a place of joy, now felt like a dusty museum of time slipping by. He felt he was simply ticking towards his own end, with his own story finishing up. One afternoon, while putting the final delicate piece into his latest clock masterpiece, his hand trembled. The clock slipped from his grasp and shattered on the ground. 100 gears, springs, and polished wooden fragments lay scattered like fallen memories. Benjamin stared at the wreckage, his spirit broken with it. "It's over," he whispered to himself. "This is the end." He felt it was his greatest failure. Just then, his little great-granddaughter Rochelle toddled into the workshop. She didn't see a broken clock. She saw treasure. Her eyes went wide with wonder. "Oh, Grandpa," she gasped with delight. "Look, a pile of stars and spinners." She knelt down and began arranging the pieces into new patterns. A silver gear became the sun. A copper spring became a smiling worm. She looked at the wreckage not as an end, but as 1,000 new beginnings. She saw it with a beginner's mind. Watching her, something shifted in Benjamin. He remembered the boy he once was, the boy who fell in love with the magic of a single gear, not just the finished clock. He remembered falling and scraping his knees, only to get right back up and run again. Rochelle's unfiltered joy was a mirror to the resilient childlike spirit he had forgotten. He knelt beside her, not to fix what was broken, but simply just to play. As he picked up a piece of polished wood, a thought bloomed in his mind, clear as a bell. He wasn't at the end of his life. He was simply 88 and a half, with every moment a new chance to find wonder. From that day on, Benjamin stopped making perfect silent clocks. Instead, from the broken pieces, he created whimsical, moving sculptures that spun with life and joy. He had come full circle, finding his beginning at the end. The story of Benjamin isn't just a parable. This journey of falling, of seeing with new eyes, and the rising again happens around all of us and to us. The world is filled with people who found their greatest purpose after their biggest fall, or who started a brand new chapter when others might have thought the book was closing. Think of Vera Wang. She dedicated her youth to becoming an Olympic figure skater. When she failed to make that team, her dream was shattered. But that was just the beginning. She entered the fashion world at the age of 40 and opened her first bridal boutique, reinventing herself into one of the most celebrated clothing designers in the world. And think of J.K. Rowling. In her late 20s, she was, by her own account, the biggest failure she knew. Divorced, jobless, homeless for a time, and nearly penniless, she hit rock bottom. But from that place of despair, she picked herself up and poured her soul into writing a story about a boy who was a wizard. Her resilience, of course, transformed that failure into the Harry Potter series, which has brought joy to billions. Then, of course, there's Harland Sanders. He worked as a farmer, a steamboat pilot, and a railroad fireman. He failed at countless business ventures. It wasn't until he was 62 years old, collecting his first Social Security check, that he took his secret fried chicken recipe on the road and franchised Kentucky Fried Chicken. And of course, his story didn't start till he was in his 60s. And finally, think of Anna Mary Robertson Moses, better known to the world as Grandma Moses. She lived a full life as a farm wife, but in her late 70s, when arthritis made embroidery too painful for her, she looked for something else to do. At the age of 78, she picked up her first paintbrush, not to become famous, but simply to keep her mind busy. Her beginner's mind created paintings filled with such joy that she became a world-renowned artist. And incredibly, that simple pastime she began at the age of 78 would result in her paintings becoming national treasures, with one even selling at auction for $1.36 million. These people remind us that a fall is often just a launch pad. They teach us that our age is not a barrier, but a badge of honor, filled with moments of grace and opportunity. And they prove that the most wondrous, creative, and resilient part of ourselves is our inner child, which is always there, waiting to show us the magic in the broken pieces. Thank you so much for listening to my reading. We're going to now move on to our healing segment. Kerry has a beautiful song picked out for us. I know we've got some first timers here. So just a little refresher on our healing. This is our opportunity for our souls to offer healing to wherever it's needed in the world. There are people, there are animals, there are places. There is so much suffering going on. I often like to just picture the world spinning there in front of me, and maybe a rainbow or a rainfall or something, just sending healing to everywhere it's needed. You can do it your own way, but I do believe that those in the unseen world can use our energy to cause healing. So however you see fit, whether you have someone in your life that maybe needs a little healing or yourself, don't picture anybody as unwell, but picture them whole, perfect and complete. You can enjoy the song. You can think of what you're grateful for. You can think of those beautiful children behind me. Of course, that's Kerry, Phil, and myself, or your own inner child, whatever that is for you. And we'll just let those in the unseen world work their magic to use our human energy to send healing. So when the healing song is over, we will hear our address, Kerry and Phil first, followed by myself. So the song we're going to listen to is Callum Scott and Leona Lewis, You Are the Reason. Here we go.
Thank you very much for playing that song, Sandra. The songs on here are songs that remind me either of my own childhood or of my daughter's childhood. And that song, Leona Lewis, she won X Factor. And I remember my daughter being over the moon that she won because she had the voice of an angel. We all have our memories of when we were young and when we had those moments in life where the world was ending because we'd lost our toy or beginning because we had that ice cream. But when we're children, we have a different viewpoint. And it's not until we see the world through a child's eyes that we're reminded how much we're forced to grow up. But what if we only did what my mind has thought about a number of times is we only grow up on the outside. And on the inside, there's still this small part of us sitting or standing or walking, and at times completely lost and at other times completely overjoyed. But our grown-up bodies squashes down the emotions regardless of whether it is joy or sadness, because we have to be a grown-up. Well, I know that there's lots of people out there, you might be included, that allow their inner child to shine, their inner child to do what makes them feel happy, their inner child that allows them to do what their purpose is, what their passion is. And it occurred to me as I was thinking about inner children, my inner child gets to be in a place where I used to be when I was younger. Phil and I were talking earlier on about how our spiritual experience has started. Mine began when I was very young, and when I was convinced, because the adults around me told me I had a great imagination, that I lived in an imaginary world. Well, now I get to be part of that imaginary world many times a week. Although now I know that world is real, but I get to escape to that place where my inner child feels welcomed, it feels accepted, it doesn't feel judged, it feels enveloped in pure joy and pure love, which is different in some ways to when I was younger, when I knew there was something, but I was petrified of the unknown. I now know better. But that inner child within each and every one of us is something that should be acknowledged, especially in the times where we feel disappointed or lost or bereaved, because children find bereavement especially incredibly hard to fathom out and to figure out. Because I don't know if you've realised, but one child can have so many different opinions about where somebody who dies goes to. 1 minute they're sleeping, the next minute they're with God, then they are in heaven, and then they're in the ground. They're gone, they're in the ground. Imagine what that does to a child, all those different opinions about what happens to us when we stop breathing. I know for me, for the children around about me, and I have 4 children, 3 I didn't even have to give birth to. Maybe I've got 4 children.
I-
But I know that bereavement has touched our family a lot over the last 2 years. There has been loss after loss after loss, and we have been very clear to all the children and siblings' children, so our nieces and nephews, about what has happened. We don't tell stories, we allow it to be whatever that child needs it to be. So our question to them is, where do you think they are? Where would you like them to be? If they took their last breath here, where would you want them to be right now? And then we leave with them that thought. Because for me, that is about that child getting to learn their own truth. They get to walk that and talk that, and here's the important part, they get to change that truth when it fits and is needed for a change. A child's world should be something that is sacred, should be something that's very special. And as an adult now, I see things very different, but I also am aware of the child within me, the child that sometimes gets frightened or alone. And I look after that child the same way I would anybody else. And I hope you do too.
Mhm. Thank you, Kerry, and thank you for picking this wonderful theme. Because I don't need an excuse to be a child. I really don't, because I think it's one of my best qualities, where I like to laugh and cheer. It was a lady that brought me into this world, in other words, my mother, that said, life is what you make it. Life is out there to be taken. And I never really understood it, because going through school, my teachers used to say, I'm a dreamer. I was always looking out of the window rather than doing my lessons. As I got to secondary school, I wasn't really interested. And I've got to be honest, because I liked my sports, my football. But I wasn't daft. I have a very quick mind. And I didn't see the point of doing workings out to show the answer. I knew the answer. Sometimes that got me in trouble. But I had to be true to myself. And what I realised is, with all the strifes, strains, and problems in life and experiences, the one thing that has kept me sane is the child inside. Having that ability to look back and laugh and smile and think about those times that may not have been the most wonderful, probably the worst, but I'm still here. I'm still living. I'm still getting on with life. And I have some wonderful children. 4 wonderful children. As Kerry said, I have 3. I adopted 1. And sometimes I wonder if I have a 5th, because we do like to have fun. And last weekend we went to watch a comedian, and we've never laughed as much in our life. And they were the most simplest of jokes that children got, and we could relate to because we've been children. But it's those little things in life that really humour you and get you through, isn't it? If you think about your partner, isn't it about the little jokes you have, the little poke in the ribs at times, or the cold feet on top of theirs? Kerry does that to me a lot. But what we've got to find is those little moments that lift us, that make us who we are. Yes, there's a time for being serious. Yes, there's a time for love. And yes, there's a time for those jokes. And one of those skills that I've been blessed with is being able to break the ice when I meet somebody with a little quip or a little bit of sarcasm. Never at anyone's behest. It's always about the moment. And if you have that ability, why not share it? Because that inner child at times can be the best medicine, not just for yourself, but for other people. Wasn't it Robin Williams that said laughter is the greatest medicine this world has ever received? And we look back to what he did and how he's inspired millions of people when he was either in a film or on a TV series, Mork and Mindy, all those things, all those strange noises that he used to make that made people laugh. And then there's the interviews that you never knew what he was going to do, so unpredictable. But he filled our hearts with love. But it isn't our children as well that do that for us. Kerry's right. There is an inner child in each and every one of us wanting to break out, wanting to be alive. And I bet this, I guarantee this, there's been times that you've wanted to say a little joke or maybe blow a raspberry near somebody, but your serious adult mind went, no, it's not the appropriate time. What will people think of me? And you held it in. Well, these moments, ladies and gentlemen, are here to be shared, to be released in this life, because you never know whose life you're going to change, inspire. For me, I always hear people say about growing old, but for me, it's growing younger. Because don't you realise the older we get, the more that we get away with? Just think about your granny with the comments that she made, or your grandfather and things like that. They came out with things and we make excuses for them.
Sounds like you're looking forward to it.
I am actually looking forward to it, getting older. Okay. But it's that inner child that keeps life interesting. It was only recently with Kerry's daughter, one of her friends had had a child, and the child was smiling and everyone was cooing over the child. And I said, don't worry, it's just wind. Everyone just erupted. Never mind the child. Everyone just erupted with laughter. It's just a poignant moment. And you can probably look back in your life and realize where there's been moments like that. And it was your inner child that just blurted something out, that inspired or lit up at that time, that's made a difference. So you will be remembered because of that inner child. Yes, that child can be frightened. Yes, that child needs to grow up at times. But actually, if we get in touch with that inner child, what would life be like? How different would it be? Maybe there would be more enjoyable moments. Maybe this life wouldn't weigh us down as much. Maybe we were able to lift people up more than we ever expected. Maybe there may be a video of you being that inner child, acting that child in years to come from your great-great-grandchildren. And they ask questions, what was he like? What was she like? And the answers will be, they were hilarious, they were funny. There was always a moment. He had this way of lifting people. So, ladies and gentlemen, that inner child is something to be cherished, never to be hidden away, never to be chastised, but to be celebrated. Kerry's right. This week we said goodbye to a family member, and it's probably one of the most touching celebrations of life I've ever seen, where family members did the service. No celebrant, no person in charge of the service. They did it. And to see two boys talk about their dad was incredible. They laughed, they joked, they cried, they got emotional. But they were true to who they were. And they talked about memories when they were children. They talked about times when they were adults. And they talked about time as they are now parents, what they're doing with their children, what their father had taught them. These are moments that we should cherish. So, ladies and gentlemen, look around you. Look to your left, look to your right, and see the people that inspire you, that have raised you into the people that you are today, and celebrate who you are and let that inner child out, because it does make you feel a lot better. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Kerry, and thank you, Phil. And as you're looking at our inner children, I just remembered when Phil was talking about Robin Williams and laughter, such a healing force. Years ago, I had this idea of creating a retreat because laughter releases those endorphins that are so healing. And I wanted to call it the endorphinage. So instead of going on a pilgrimage, you went on an endorphinage. And I just remembered that. So if anybody wants to take that ball and run with it, please do so. We need more opportunities for laughter and feeling good. Last week, Kerry and Phil shared that they've just seen a comedian, which prompted my mother and I to go to a comedian last night. So we went to see Jim Gaffigan, who's well known here in America, and he's also got clean humor. And for an hour and a half, I sat with the biggest smile on my face and giggling and laughing and hearing my mom belly laugh. And it just felt so good. And he started off by talking about how we were as children. You know, we wanted to play and we never wanted to take a nap. We didn't want to go to sleep. We didn't want to go to bed at night, right? And then the older we get, all we want to do is sleep and take a nap. And he said, so people who booked the tickets to go see him, they thought, oh, it's such a good idea. And by the time the showtime came, it's like, oh, do we really have to? Can't we just stay home? You know, it's just so common for us, as I think we want comfort, but we don't realize that the best things are outside of our comfort zone. You know, Neil Donald Walsh had a quote about that. You know, that's where our true life is. So we need to give ourselves that little nudge, I think, to break out of our comfort zone. I think life is pretty intelligent. I have had this profound privilege now of having well over 700 podcast episodes, talking to a lot of people, exploring a lot of things, all afterlife related. And I see this really being an intelligent universe. You think of the nature and the instincts of being a parent and raising a child. And you think of, I mean, kids are just so filled with wonder. You think two people came together, created a child, and then in them is a DNA to grow up into a most magnificent being with all these thoughts and interests and things. And then we grow older, of course, and we're gaining wisdom. And they say that we get new cells every so many years and we don't have any part of us the same. And I think that's pretty intelligent. You know, where are we? You know, where are we? You know, and what science is now really believing that consciousness is not within us, but we are part of consciousness. We are part of something that lives so far out beyond us that we just happen to be tapped into it for a little while as we're humans. And with all the stories that I've heard about these deathbed visitors, oh, I love it. That I love hearing these stories that just before we pass, there's somebody there to greet us. There was a video someone sent me of a boy that just before he passed, he was almost completely nonverbal, but just before he passed, he looked up and he said, hello. And then he passed shortly thereafter. So it's intelligent. And as we know from afterlife investigations and our wonderful medium friends, you know, we'll close our eyes here and then we'll open them and everybody's going to be there. So we have to trust that this aging process, while it's not always so glamorous, is part of the big picture. We do. And I remember my grandmother, who many of you might have seen when I sent my weekly email Saturday morning. She was on the bottom of the email there, Betsy. She would say, I am 89 and a half. I am 90 and a quarter. And she passed just 1 week before she turned 91. But she always made it a point to tell people her age and that a quarter and a half. And that's just what we did when we were kids. So there's something special, I think, about being a kid and finding the wonder, and then also being older and finding that wonder. You know, we start to slow down a little bit and we start, I think, to appreciate things more. I tell you, I can't see a butterfly or a hummingbird or a squirrel without just being delighted. That wasn't available for most of my life while I was busy working and all that. So I think my take on the inner child and about children is to, watch kids and be reminded of that sense of wonder and that we can all carry that with us no matter when or how old we are. If you watched at the beginning, I thought, I'm pushing 60. I'm 59 now. 59 and a quarter is how old I technically am. But that's okay. I would not turn back the clock and give up the wisdom that I have now. I wouldn't. And I also want us all to look at maybe some of the people that are a little older than ourselves. Sometimes they are babied and talked down to. These are people that have so much wisdom, even if they can't literally carry themselves like they used to and things are moving a little slower. Get involved with conversations, listen to them, have some fun. So I think ultimately my take on all of this is to embrace children, to embrace our inner child, to push the envelope and look for opportunities to have fun. If anyone wants to share what they do to have fun, please put it in the chat box. Always up for new ideas. That Grandma Moses who started to paint just because her fingers became frail and now is known as one of the greatest painters of all time. What can you do? What can we do? I'm not up to jumping out of an airplane, but I saw some 90-year-old on the news that did, pushing his inner child to the limit. So whatever that may be, embrace it. Each and every one of us has that part of ourselves that just wants to explore and just wants to play. We brush our teeth as a habit every day. I hope we do anyways. What can we pencil into our diary for that inner child? Is it reading? Is it going for a walk? Is it playing in nature? Is it painting? Why not have a coloring book as an adult? They do make adult coloring books. And I'm not talking, the X-rated ones or anything. I'm talking about just have fun as an adult with crayons. So what is it you're going to do? Really, we want to leave you with that. What is it you're going to do to just awaken that inner child and see life through the lens of it's magic. It is magic. So I want to thank you for listening. We will conclude our address now, and we will switch gears to our demonstration of mediumship. I know we have some new friends with us today, and we've got some returning friends, and this is just a little refresher of how our medium demonstrations work. Kerry and Phil are, to me, the best two mediums around, and they're the best tutors of mediumship. It's always wonderful to see our students have an experience, and I get some good emails from you folks as well. They have both had over 25 years of working with the spirit world, and in their own way, they're going to request those in the unseen world to work with them. All right. So our members of the Sunday gathering who are in the spirit world are all around us. Yes, they're packed in wherever you are right now. Our loved ones don't just come on Sundays to be part of our Sunday gathering. They continue to learn and grow in the spirit world, but they are just a blink away from us, a heartbeat, a breath. And it's so evident through our readings on our Sundays that they are part of our lives. They truly, truly are. So while there'll be some people in our community that will get readings here today, messages, evidence, and all of that, I 100% believe that the folks that come through are just as like Kerry, Phil, and myself, that we create messages that land for all people. So please, even if it isn't your loved one that comes through, listen in like it is, because I guarantee you there's going to be some bits of gold that you can use for your life. So you'll hear Phil and Kerry do this demonstration. They'll start off by giving a few bits of information about the spirit person that has connected with them, whether it's a man or a woman, boy, girl, who knows. They'll give some bits of information. We want you to be on the edge of your seat, really listening in. Could this be your person? So they're going to describe someone who no longer walks this earth, all right? And we want you to listen in. Is this somebody you knew that no longer lives in human form? really listen in, okay? I feel like you get this little nudge like, oh, they're talking about, so and so. If you can understand all the information of the person that they described, we want you to press your raise hand button. Now, it could be somebody you worked with, could be a friend, could be a family member. Sometimes it's a little distant. Never know how the spirit world works. They are as unique as you and I are, okay? So just for practice, everybody, if you can find on your device that raise hand button and go ahead and press it for me now. Yes, I know people are saying, Sandra, you ask us to do this every week. But yes, let your inner child play and press that button. Give that high five. Some are doing it, some aren't, but that's okay. If you can't find it, sometimes there's 3 dots you have to press if you're on an iPhone or an iPad or some other kind of device. So why this is important is you'll notice that the raise hand button goes from raise hand to lower hand. We do ask that you are able to understand all the information before you press your raise hand button, okay? But sometimes there's 2 or more people that can take all of the information. So Kerry or Phil will continue working, and ideally, if something is not a fit for you, go ahead and press the lower hand button, all right? Simple as that. Now, if you are the last person with your hand raised, I'll send a little something over to your device. You'll get a pop-up that says host would like you to unmute, and just then that unmute button will appear. You will not be on camera. Don't worry about that, but we do like to hear your voice. And all we need to hear from you is a yes, no, or I don't know about the information that's given. Kerry, Phil, myself, and others are working very, very hard to raise the level of mediumship in the world. And one of the ways you can help us do that, whether it's on our Sunday gathering or if you ever have a medium reading, is only say yes, no, or I don't know. Let the medium do the work so that we can all feel that they really are communicating with those in the spirit world. Don't feel bad about saying no. They teach in their classes that no simply means new opportunity. Just be honest. It's all that there is to it. So we always like to play a piece of music before our demonstration. Today is no different. This is an absolutely feel-good piece of music with a gentleman with his inner child definitely shining through. It's always fun you can watch the videos, dance to the song, just imagine, because our loved ones do work with our creative centers, that they are right here with us, because I tell you, they are. So let me find our song and then we'll be back with our demonstration. Kerry says, Phil's up first. Here we go. That's the best song. Thanks, Kerry.
Hello, Miss Sandra. Hello to everybody out there. And you do not know what discipline it took during that address to keep my inner child to a certain degree inside. I never said things like Alexa lights off and things like that. I'm planning to do all those things, but there we go. Just a little bit of fun.
Just done havoc all over the world.
Well, that's the plan. That's the plan, sort of thing. But it is an absolute pleasure here to work for the spirit world. And I also know, as I become aware of the spirit world, I know I have a father with me, and I know he will be full of jokes himself. And I know he will get a real laugh by doing things such as what I've said, Alexa. But I want to go a little bit further with Alexa, because it feels like I want Alexa to make noises of human body and things like that. So I know there will be memories of Dad, or I want to say using Alexa for this, because I know he's got that little bit of toilet humor. But I also know with Father, as he comes forward, I know he doesn't get to that great age, and I know it's that midlife that I want to be talking about, but I know here he was known for being larger than life, and I know he's got this ability to really get on with everybody as well that he meets, because I know he has that inner child that comes out within him, but he just has that knack of curving it when he needs to. So if this makes sense, where Father in the spirit world had this type of sense of humor, you would have memories of things with Alexa or a device very similar to that as well. I'll promise I'll not say the A word again.
You're so funny, Phil. Oh, Katharina has her hand raised right away. If you could press your unmute button. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Thank you.
Hello, Katharina. You understand everything I've said about Dad?
Yes.
And you would have memories about the A machine and making human body noises and things like that?
Not human body uh, noises, but using Alexa.
Okay, because I know here, but I know he has a really good sense of humor, though, Katharina.
Oh, yes.
And because I know here, it's almost like I want to be a little bit mischievous
Oh,
with
yes.
you and everybody else. And I know he has that ability to, almost what I want to say is where he has that ability to touch people of different ages through that.
Yes.
Because it's almost where I want to come down as a child to get down to their level. Then I can raise myself to adult level, but I can mix them as well.
Yes.
And I also know that he likes one-liners, little comments as well.
That's right.
And if I said that your dad liked to watch films.
Films.
Yes, as in creations of movies and things.
We used to watch nature shows. Nature
Okay,
films.
please don't tell me anymore.
Sorry.
Then if I've got films wrong, if he liked nature shows, the TV, he would have talked about these a lot.
Not sure.
I want to go back just a second because it feels where Dad would relate to what he was watching and be able to use it in his learnings for other people.
For other people?
Yeah, if I said with you, Katharina, it should make sense where he would talk over things with you about those programs and other things he'd learnt.
Not sure.
Not sure. I'd rather have a no because there's something not feeling right. Is there
Okay.
anybody else with their hand up? Just stay there, Katharina, please. Anybody else with a hand up? Because I know here there's something that's not coming across as it should do. And I know that I can't push it because I'm not with the right person. Because I know there's something here about watching films, taking what I've learned and trying to either imitate or tell jokes about what I've seen.
Thank you, Phil. Can anyone else understand this information? Stay where you are, Katharina. No hands going up just yet, Phil.
Because I know there is something to what I'm saying. And
We'll bring in Christy. Her hand just went up. Hi, Christy.
Hi.
Hello, Christy. Do you understand everything that I've said?
Yes. I mean, I do. He used
go on.
Siri, but not Alexa, but you said a device like that.
Okay, that's fine. So,
yeah.
okay, right. Thank you. Because that feels better. Thank you, Christy, for coming forward. But with that device, he would use it to make those bodily sounds and things.
That's what I didn't understand. That's the only part.
Okay, that's the only part. Because it just feels where I want to, it's almost like a funny thing to use it. That makes sense? Have I lost Christy?
No, I'm here. I'm just trying to understand what you're saying.
Okay,
Yeah.
if I'm not being clear, I do apologize. But I know things like the A word and Siri, he would be fascinated with.
Yes, that is true. Yes.
And I know he would find it funny. There would be something amazing about it.
Yes. Yes.
Because I know but I also know whether, and if I said he could be quite humorous as well.
Yes, very.
Because I know I want to, whether it's known by you, but use it or I'm amazed with what it can do.
Yes. Yes.
That's right. And it feels where I would use it, then help educate other people and tell people what I'd learned.
Yes, that is true. Yes.
And I also know he liked his films as well, the TV.
Very much so, yes.
And I know from that he would use it to nurture or use lines to educate people.
Yes.
And I get the impression he would learn things, funny moments through films and try and repeat them live as well.
Yes. Yes.
Because it just feels here where he's got that mentality as he comes forward. And I want to say that when he laughed and smiles, his eyes went to real, almost little tiny eyes, and he just lit up. And I know he has that real laugh about him.
Yes. Yes.
And when he did laugh, it was infectious.
Yes.
And I know there should be memories of him laughing where he was crying at the same time.
Yes. Yes.
And I want to say that sometimes that he had that, with that sense of humor, it would be schoolboy sense of humor at times.
Yes.
And if I said it was toilet humor as well, because I know the things I'm hearing, I'm struggling to repeat, but it's almost I want to blow raspberries and little things. And he would, oh, my word is pushing it a little bit, so I'm going to be very polite. But I know here he would, I know I talked about before about human sound. If I said that he made them himself, when he was laughing, because I know that the picture that he's showing me, but I know it's all about upliftment. It's all about celebrating and living who he is. And actually a sense of he could talk to anybody, couldn't he?
Yes.
And meet them, like I said to Katharina, meet them at their own level.
Yes.
And he had a wonderful way of engaging a room and knowing where to come in with. And he knew how to make an entrance at family get-togethers. because I know as he walks in, everyone seems to gravitate towards him.
Yes, as he got older. Yes.
Because I know there seems to be this popular sense where I know people were interested and would listen to him as well. Okay. But I know towards that latter stage, it changed. And I know people tried to cheer him and keep him going. And I want to say, Christy, where you're concerned, you must have tried to do that for him.
Yes.
And if I said you also cared for him and helped him move as well.
Yes. Yes.
And he's ever so grateful. And I want to say that he shared things with you that he didn't share with others.
Yes.
Because I know he's confiding in you, and it's a strange thing to say, and it's not morbid, but he had the sense when he was going, because I feel he told you before he went how to live life and how to look at life.
Yeah.
Because there's a promise that he's trying to acknowledge where he asked you to, and he said, you've done that. You've made him so proud. I know that you still talk to him. I know that you've told him you loved him since I've been talking to you. And I know you miss those hugs he used to give you as well. And I know when, and I'm going to trust him here, when Mum was in that state of mind where she wasn't, when she was annoyed with somebody, you get that look from Dad that let you know, whoop, she's off again. Understand?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Because I know that fun side is very much there with, and he was very good at lifting your spirits at the right time as well.
Yes.
And all he had to do is pull you in close and put his arm around you and just said, life will always get better.
Yes.
And that's what I want to leave you with. Now, Sandra mentioned an actor before, and I went to the Three Stooges. He must have liked funny people like that.
He did. Yeah.
Because I know I'm seeing Groucho Marx, I'm seeing the Three Stooges, I'm seeing the whole lot, and I'm seeing other actors I don't know, the names are on my mind. And I just want to laugh and enjoy the TV, the black and white films, and I want to do their jokes and share their jokes with you like they're my own as well. So I know here he would imitate them in a roundabout way. And I know here it's that sense of upliftment he wants to bring in. So thank you very much for allowing me to do this. It's been an absolute pleasure. And I know he's leaving you with all that upliftment. And there's one of those comedians he liked that used to make the raspberry sounds, because that's all I keep on hearing. But I know He's trying to get through. Listen to what you hear, because I know he's trying to do things from the spirit world, because
Okay.
you've been asking for things from spirit, and that's
Yes.
why he's come forward. And with that, he's blowing you kisses, pulling funny faces. I'm going to leave you with the love of spirit and say thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're absolutely welcome. Absolutely welcome. Good. Okay. Oh, that was the chair. That was not me. Before we go any further. Okay. Okay. So as I become aware of the spirit world once more, ladies and gentlemen, I do believe I've got somebody's son. And as I work with him, I know that he would have, I get the feeling he would have passed around college age. I know he would have been very good at sports. I do believe it would be basketball in particular. But I also know he's one of the popular kids. And again, I know I've got that zest about life, full of life. And I know there should be photographs of him in either basketball tops as well. So this would make sense to somebody. Son in the spirit world, passed around that college age, was very good at basketball. There should be pictures of that. And I get the impression that he did play for the college or school basketball team. I had to check that. I was right in my head saying the right sport it is, basketball.
Thank you, Phil. Who understands this information? Press your raise hand button for us, please. No hands up just yet.
That's peculiar. There's nothing much I can change, because I don't feel anything needs changing. If there's anything that I will let go of, because I know how to work, is the relationship of son. So it's the thing is, it's got to be close. If it's not son, it's got to be partner, because I know it's a close relationship.
All right. Does that make sense to somebody here? May not be son, a close relationship with all basketball.
No, I've got it. I've got sports wrong. I'm sure it's basketball, but I know here.
Diana has her hand raised. Let's talk to Diana. Hi, Diana.
Hello.
Hello, Diana. Do you know the person I'm talking about?
I do.
And it's not son,
It's not son, no.
but it's somebody that you would have known either like a son or very close to.
No, not a son or son-like.
Now, would you know him through your children?
No.
No. Then there's something here that's not right. I'm going to stick to it, Diane. Thank you very much
Okay.
for coming forward.
Yeah,
but
sure.
I know here that that relationship, that closeness is there. It's important.
Okay, we do have a person. Oh, we did have a person with their hands raised. It went down. Melissa and Janet both have their hands raised.
Okay. So what I need from you guys is, we'll bring you in a second. In fact, if you bring them both in, I know it should be son or somebody very close to you, because there's that emotional tie there. I know they would have passed around that age, because I know that's what I'm being shown. And I know it should be basketball they played.
All right, Melissa, your hand went down, so it's not son.
Well, I can't, it's not very close relationship, but maybe it was a significant relationship. I could tell
Okay.
later why.
That's okay. That's fine. And we've got somebody else. Is it Janet as well?
You there,
Do you
Janet?
understand?
Janet
Okay.
S.
I can't hear. So I'm just going to work anyway, because I need to understand this. But I want to go back to Melissa then. You understand that he was very good at that sport?
Yes.
Because I want to say he should have been the captain.
Oh, you know what? Actually, the problem is I'm not going to, no, I don't know that.
You don't know. That's fine. But I'd rather you say no to me, because that I need this to be honest, because it just feels here. But I want to say about him, he was very popular with other students and very well liked.
Yes.
And I want to say about him that he's one of those people that people are just drawn to as well. He would light that room up.
Yes, probably.
No, I don't know it's right. Just let me just look at this for a second. And would you know where I said there was photographs of him in that basketball team?
I don't know.
No.
I don't think I can say enough to be
Yeah,
part
no,
of
you
this.
can't. I don't want you to say because I don't want to make it fit, but I know what I've got and I can't change it, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, because I know the picture's very clear. It's either somebody's not speaking up or somebody's not coming forward, but I know I need to sort this out. I know Janet's got her hand up again.
Let's see if we can get over to Janet. You keep listening in, Melissa. Hi, Janet. Janet is unmuted, but we cannot hear her voice. Janet, can you type in the chat box if you can take this information? Just put in a Y. Oh, there you are, Janet.
Hi, Sandra. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now. Do you understand what I've said?
I understand it's my grandson, and the sport wasn't basketball, it was soccer.
It was soccer, and he was the captain, though.
Yes, and he was very popular amongst
That's
his
fine.
students.
Okay, then I've got my sports wrong. I did think it was basketball because I just saw the top. So with the accent, I would imagine it may look a little bit different. But I know here he was very popular, and he must have passed around that time that I mentioned.
I'm sorry, what time did you mention again?
Around that college time.
College. No, he was only 15.
So okay, my mistake then. But I know he's still in education. But I know here, and let me just go back to that. He must have had a mindset that was older than his years, though.
Yes.
That's fine, because I know as I tried to thought, okay, what's going on here? And I looked at this, I know his mindset is that little bit more mature. And he had that way about him engaging with other people, even older than him as well.
Oh, yes.
And I also know he was very quick-witted.
Yes.
And I know I can twist things and come out with one-liners.
Yes.
Because I know there's a real sense of wanting to have fun and playing people up. And we've been talking about that inner child, and I know he had that about him.
Oh, boy, you got him down good.
Because I know here with him is a little bit of a flirt as well, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
Because he keeps on making me look at my wife and I'm saying, hold on a minute, that's my wife. But I know he had this really innocent way of doing it, though. So I know here it's just that mindset. But I want to say he's one of the most humblest and selfless young people that I've met.
Yes.
And I know he's very thoughtful to you. And I know that I said son, and I know you said grandson, but he looks up to you like a mother. And I know you had that relationship. And I know when you met, he would hug you as well. Okay, that's fine. I'm married, remember? But I know here he gave me a kiss on the cheek. So I know he would also give you that kiss as well.
Yes.
There's an impression with him that when it came to you, he would do anything you asked.
Well, not with begging.
No, I know he would, because I know he has that soft spot for you. But
Yeah.
there must be photographs of him in that team as well.
Oh, yes.
Because and I know those photographs have caught the essence of who he is. Because I want to say his face is lit up shining.
Oh, God, it's beautiful. Thank you, Phil.
And I know as well that he was very good at soccer, wasn't he?
Yes.
And I know he won trophies and competitions.
I'm not sure if it was a single, it was team winning.
I know it's okay. Should have said team, the sport. Okay, the team. Okay, because I know they won trophies because he's showing me that as well. I also know with him that he would try not just soccer. He would have done other field events and track events.
Yes. Well,
because I know he's showing me the difference between schools here and over there. And I know I see the track and events and things. But I also know with him, there's a sense of him wanting to really come forward and uplift you at the moment.
Oh my
And
God.
he says you're in need of that hug. And I know it should be around an anniversary for him as well?
Well, his birthday is coming up in July and mine just passed in May.
Okay, because I know he talks about that this time of year being important for
Yes.
anniversaries. So I know he's acknowledging that. And I know it's the little things he would do for you, such as the hugs, the kiss, the smile, the lighting up of the eyes, that lets you know how much he was fond of you. But I also know he wants you to know that he's fine and well, because I know you've been asking about him and wanting to know how he is, and if he's moving the keys and things around in your home.
I think I lost my keys last week.
Oops. Because I know here he mentions keys specifically to me, and I know he had a really playful way about him, didn't he?
Yes.
And I know he's just been a little bit playful. I got to trust his words. He's talking about keys. He's talking about bringing them back to your attention. So just watch that. I'm going to leave his love with you and know that he's around you. Thank you for making me work so hard. I really do enjoy it and love working for the spirit world. It's been an absolute pleasure to get you that contact, Janet.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
And
much. You're
I
absolutely
so
welcome.
look
Thank you.
forward to Sundays for meeting with you and the group.
Brilliant. We look forward. It's ever so nice to hear that. Ladies and gentlemen, it's always a pleasure to work for the spirit world, but I'm going to hand over to my lovely, beautiful wife that young man seemed to admire. And I'm going to say thank you very much.
Thank you, Phil. Kerry is pretty beautiful. Yes, she is.
Thank you very much. I know as you were working with that young man there, I know I have a gentleman here. I do know that he would have driven cars on a racetrack. I do not feel he was a race car driver, but I know that you would understand the memory he has of him driving round. I don't know if it would be a gift or a moment, but I know he was driving on I know he would have driven a race car on this track. I need to get to where I'm going because I need to double check something with the person. Would somebody here know a gentleman? He doesn't feel like he has grown into be a grown-up. He feels like he is below middle age. It feels like, I actually have to say, it feels like son, but I feel grown up, not like 15, 20. I feel like I've grown up into adulthood.
Thank you. Does somebody understand that? Got an opportunity to go around a racetrack in a car. Raise your hand if yes, please. The awkward silence when nobody's raising their hand yet.
Okay, if nobody is putting up their hand just yet, it's just given me a little bit more information. I know this gentleman would have driven cars at speed, and I want to ask the audience to cast their mind back to a film called Grease, and they were racing through some kind of
Grease lightning?
the bit where the water is.
Oh, is it an aqueduct?
An aqueduct. There must be a memory of seeing him drive through that, because it's just changed from a racetrack to this kind of viaduct place. So you would know of a gentleman that would have driven cars at speed through this type of area.
Thank you, Kerry. Who understands this? So your soul's giving you that nudge that this could be you.
And if it isn't son, I do know that whoever this is close, because I feel him incredibly close to me. So I know he's given me the feelings of Somebody here knows me. They know me close.
Got a hand raised. Ive, is that how you say your name?
Iva?
Iva. Hi, Iva.
Yes. Hello.
Hi, Iva. You understand what I'm seeing for the gentleman I've got here?
Yes, I had my dad-in-law and he was driving fast and I kind of feel him so much. Maybe it's he.
And would you know that he would have driven in the areas I've spoken of?
Yes, something like that.
Okay. Because I know it was flicking between a racetrack and this viaduct scene. Then and this is your father-in-law.
Yes, he is.
Okay. Then he must have been quite outspoken.
Yes.
Because I feel like there would have been a bit of a daredevil nature with him, that if he was told not to do something, he might have done his best to challenge that person.
Yes.
I get the sense as well with your father-in-law that with your partner, I feel like he might not have been the most closest.
Yes. Right.
Because I get this feeling that although he knows your partner well, I get the feeling your partner's not with you just now,
No,
are
no,
they?
he isn't. He isn't.
Okay. Then this recording becomes the message for him, because I know your father-in-law has an apology. You would have known from your partner that he didn't have the best experiences at times with his dad.
Yes.
And I get this feeling with your father-in-law that there is an apology there. I also know that your father-in-law wasn't the best role model for your partner.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And with that role model, your partner didn't really stand a chance of being everything he potentially could be because of the way your father-in-law was. That being said, though, I know your father-in-law wishes to acknowledge for his son that your partner has done something within the last 4 months that has caught your father-in-law's attention, because he's made good changes in his life.
Before 4 months, right?
4 months ago,
Uh-huh.
within the last, because I know your father-in-law gives me this impression of seeing your partner making changes for the better.
Okay.
Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay, because I'm not talking about in the future, I am talking about in the past. Please know that this is your father-in-law's way of saying thank you for doing what you have done for his son, and also for his son to be able to watch back this recording. I'm going to say thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay. I know I have a lady here. I do feel she has not been very long in the spirit world. I do feel, I actually get the sense that this would be, I almost said Aunt there, but I actually feel it could be, somebody here would know of Aunt in the spirit world, and I do not feel that Aunt has been there very long. I know she's a little bit of a joker. She had a little bit of a rebellious side and a sense of humor, because I know she did not have a dirty mind, but I know that she used to tell little jokes that would make her family a little bit nervous as to what was going to come out of her mouth. Would somebody in our audience understand this?
Thank you very much, Kerry. Well, Mary Lou's hand went right up. Let's go over. Mary Lou, if you could press your unmute button.
Hi.
Hi, welcome.
Hi, Mary Lou. Do you understand everything I've said?
Yes, I think that's my daughter, Nadine.
Your daughter, if I've got the relationship wrong, Mary Lou, your daughter wasn't a child. She was an adult.
Oh, yes, yes. And then Nadine was an adult.
Then if that's the case, because I had mother in my mind as well, that's why I had to pause there. Mary Lou, your daughter and you must have been, I know the joke about being sisters, but you must have been very close.
Yes, very close.
Because I made the distinction there in my mind between, I was toying between aunt and mother because of the closeness that it felt. But if this is your daughter, you would know that she had a sense of humor that you might not know what's going to come out of her mouth next.
Yes, we're always afraid because I'm always afraid, especially when I take her to like parties, like
I do know that, let me work for you, Mary Lou. I know that with your daughter here, she gives me this impression of she didn't mean to embarrass anybody, but she wanted to create fun.
Yes,
and I do not feel she is rude. She just could say some things that were very true. You know, those comedians that talk about things that are very real. I also know your daughter must have been able to impersonate different people in the family.
Yes, she always makes fun of me, most especially me.
Because I can hear her doing all different voices here, as if she is taking the mickey out of people. I also have this, she gives me this impression that you and her would have had to have stifled laughs when your brother is in the spirit world, Mary Lou.
Yes, yes.
And your brother would have had a very distinctive voice.
Yes, yes.
And your daughter would have copied his voice or some things that he would have said.
Yes, yes. That's right.
Because I'm hearing two people do the same kind of voice here, and she's chuckling at this. And you still have a son here, Mary Lou?
Yes, I still have a son.
Then your daughter must have teased your son mercilessly. Like she must have been able to wind him up.
Oh, yeah. She would dress up her brother with her clothes.
And I feel he did not stand much of a chance with her. I feel like, but he was a willing participant.
Yes.
In all fairness, he was a willing participant. Yes. I know there must be a picture of you and her, and you would have gone to some fancy dress, or you would have had some occasion to go to a party where you were both in fancy dress, but you both dressed the same.
Yes, yes.
But you have that picture of her.
Yes, in fact, I made it as one of my, was that photo on Facebook.
Oh, well, let's just say I don't know you, Mary Lou. Is that right? I have not been on any social media with you. I want to say as well that with your daughter, she must have spoken about wanting, or she must have been in the medical profession.
No, she was.
Don't tell me.
Okay. No, she wasn't.
Let me work for you. Good. Yeah. No, she wasn't. Then she must have oh, you wicked woman. Your daughter, there must also be a photograph of her in some kind of medical uniform, and please don't let that be the one on Facebook.
Yes.
Okay, because she's given me a photograph of her in like a doctor's outfit.
Yeah.
I know too that she brings this memory of being in hospital.
Yes.
I also know that while she was in hospital, she would not take no from the doctors.
Yes.
And I get the sense that you did everything you could in order to make sure your daughter received the best treatment.
Yes. Yes, definitely, yes.
And you must have found a small, okay. Your daughter, you have grandchildren from your daughter,
Yes, I do.
because she's showing me the scan photograph of her children that
Oh,
she put in the album. And I know this is her way of acknowledging her children, but also acknowledging the role you have stepped in as too.
yes.
And there's
Yes.
an immense gratitude there for you. There's an immense sense of humor there. And please let she has a daughter, Mary Lou.
No, she has 2 boys.
Then there must be a daughter come into the family. So either they have partners or I'm the daughter. Okay. She is a laugh a minute. She is doing, I can hear her say daughter, daughter, daughter. But I also need to say, Mary Lou, that with her, she never got to say the goodbyes to you that she wanted to.
No. No.
No, I'm wrong?
No, that is right. Yeah.
Okay.
Because she was supposed to move in with us.
I know absolutely that she has whispered in your ear her goodbyes since then, but more than that, she has whispered in your ear, and you've almost been able to imagine her joking and having a laugh, and that's what she wants to leave you with. That's her last word to you, is something that would make you laugh.
Thank you.
Mary Lou, I'm going to say thank you for allowing me to be part of that with you and your daughter. And thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Sandra, it's been an absolute wonderful time. We've thoroughly enjoyed it. Believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, this has been our second demonstration of the day. We served a church earlier on and we came here as well because we absolutely love what we're doing. So hopefully we've inspired you for this Sunday, and we're going to hand back over to Sandra.
Thank you both, Kerry and Phil. Their website, mymediumship.com. Lots of good things there. They just started a new class, The Gentle Path to Spirit. You can join live or watch the replays, but they have some downloads there, connecting with loved ones and so much more. Mymediumship.com. Plus, they have got some live events, whether in England, in the United States, Santa Fe, New Mexico, coming to Orlando. Lots of good things to investigate there. There's been a couple of notes in the chat box about where to find the replay. After the Sunday gathering, the link you use to join today becomes the on-demand link. Usually takes about a half hour or so for Zoom before they have it all processed, but you can find it there and you can download it. And then by tomorrow, it's usually about 24 hours after, if you go to wedon'tdie.com, you can click on the Sunday gathering page, just scroll down, you'll see the replay that you can watch or download there. You can also register for our upcoming Sunday gatherings. We've got the wonderful Shirley Ann Sharp, who will be with me next week. Those of you who have donated to our Sunday gathering to make it possible, thank you. You can find a donation link there as well. That's the Sunday gathering page at wedon'tdie.com. So we saw just now that loved ones are healthy, well, there's still them. I know grief is ever so painful, but we're going to give you and continue to give you everything we've got so that you know they are around. Sometimes, my friends, out of the blue, you're just going to get a thought in your mind of a funny occasion or something you did together. Those just little calling cards from them saying, we're still here. Sometimes you can get the ball rolling too. Take a trip down memory lane and just start talking to them. Remember when we did this? Remember when we did this? Anyways, that they are here, and we'll continue, like I said, through Kerry and Phil's teachings and through my podcasts and everything. We are here for you, okay? 100%. So I just wanted to say a couple of more things as far as this inner child business. You know how I've got these pictures right next to me of beautiful Kerry and Phil and myself just being the young ones. Each and every one of us has that young one that we once were, but we still are. So whether you have an old picture of yourself or not, have a little conversation with that little inner child, really. You know, if you were to talk to them now about what life was going to be like, what would you say? You know, that you're still you. There's going to be tough times. There's going to be good times. But add that wisdom to them. Tell them those things that you've learned and to hang on. It's still magical. Go find that fun. Have some friends. Take a risk and do something fun. If you were to look in the chat box, and I hope some of you were paying attention, a whole bunch of you typed in things that you do for fun. And I just want to read Connie's. She says, my cat loves to play hide and go seek. He always hides in the same spot and meows until I come and find him. It makes me laugh every time. There are things, and I just think that's so cute, that we can do to add that joy and laughter. So remember that inner child, they're still you. I just want to reinforce that. And, you know, sometimes when I'm talking to you, I'm talking to me too, right? We need to embrace that. And before I hand this over for our closing prayer, Wednesday is Kerry's birthday. So we're going to celebrate and we're going to have a big party together, our inner child, sending her some love. And if you want to wish Kerry a happy birthday, I know we'll talk on Wednesday, Kerry, but a happy birthday from all of us to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, after that wonderful announcement that it is Kerry McLeod's birthday on Wednesday, let's join together and go within that divine silence and close this service down. Great infinite Spirit, we gathered together once more under that banner of We Don't Die, a celebration of life, a group of souls that come together to inspire. But as we've all sat here, that light, that love, and that upliftment within our hearts, within our minds, we ask you to take within this world, to share it to those people that are in need, for those countries that are suffering, and those people that need that upliftment. But we ask for that light to shine brightly on our own paths, to take us forward within this world, to show us the truth, but allow us to be who we are, to grow within confidence and inspiration, to allow that inner child to come out, that we may relish and enjoy that journey of life itself as we take each step by step. It is that we ask for, our Father, and it's with that gratitude within our hearts and minds. Amen.
Thank you so much, Phil, and thank you, Kerry, and ladies and gentlemen, thank you, and to our friends in the spirit world. Here's our closing song. That was just beautiful. Thank you, everyone. I hope you're all smiling like I am. We read every message in the chat box. Thank you so much for that. And we'll see everybody next Sunday, if not sooner. And a big happy birthday to Kerry. Mwah. Love you all. Bye, everyone.